Hi, aloha. Welcome back to another Real Trash Podcast episode with Noah James Markham. This is the podcast with, we're going to be talking about um, trashy subjects from disability to politics to celebrities and just trashy subjects in just normal life. So yeah, welcome back to the Real Trash Podcast. You are all welcome here on my podcast. You are all welcome here as I am from Hawaii. And my main goal on this YouTube channel is to make disability awareness more aware. Um, I've had disabilities my whole life. Um, my first disability I was born with in 1998, right when I was born. I've had hard of hearing my whole life. Um, and I know how to sign language. So I can communicate with deaf people. So I can understand them too when they sign back to me. So that is one of my disabilities I've had my whole life. Um, and then I have another one. It's called autism, and then there's an autistic spectrum. I'm on the autistic spectrum that was diagnosed later on in my life. And then also and also I have intellectual disabilities, so learning disabilities, where I have to have a little more extra help on um, certain things with math and reading and in classrooms where I will need extra help with accommodation to be able to succeed in school. So yeah, it's okay to have um, whatever accommodations you need to succeed. But yeah, so welcome here to the Real Chats podcast, and this today we're going to be talking more about um, my weekly, and I think I talked about it last episode that um, I'm going to add something else to my podcast now, and that's going to be weekly updates on what is going on in my life because I think I need to vent a little bit more to talk to somebody, even though if this is one person, two, three, four people, um, it's always good to um, vent. So you're like my counselor, and I am the patient. Okay, is that okay with you guys? I hope it is okay with you guys. And thank you for listening to my podcast. Thank you for watching my YouTube videos, and yeah, I'm so grateful for you guys. But yeah, it is August um, already, and I can't believe that already. Um, the month has flown by a lot. July has already flown by, um, and I can't believe we're in August. July was a good month. July, actually, I can't say it was all good, but um, it was nice to see my best friend in July. My best friend, her name is Judith, and hopefully you get to see her soon again. You've seen her in a few other videos, in my YouTube videos, and hopefully you'll get to see her soon this month. Um, very, very soon in another YouTube video. Should be up soon in a couple next weeks. Um, but yeah, you know, July was an interesting month. 4th of July, I cannot believe it. In my 26th year of living in the world. So it's really amazing. Um, Even though I've had struggles and I'm taking care of my mental health and also I'm taking care of, um, you know, other, I think in my life as I'm going through this year, started in January, my journey, I've really taken a step back and not working in the workforce and trying to help my mental health out. And I think this is a great awareness for everybody else to know that we're all in this together. But I also don't believe that you trying to get counseling and trying to get mental health help and then trying to work. I don't agree on that. And I think a lot of counselors try to push that narrative, and especially with disabilities, some disability people in the community, they cannot work. And they cannot work at all. Um, and so some counselors just like to push it too much and it's going too far. And I think that's another thing in the disability world, or just in general, that counselors need to know that you need to stop pushing that narrative that a job will help people with disabilities um, lower their mental health problems. And I don't believe in that um, at all. So I am talking to you about that as I am going through my journey with my disabilities, but also through my mental health. Um, you know, as you know, I've worked for a long time. I've worked for over 8 years in my lifetime. So I started right when I was in high school, and yeah, I've never took that step to look at my mental health because it was so hard to look at that when I also lived with some other people in my life um, that took care of me. Another family took care of me for a long time, and I really didn't get the time to do that because I was always working. I was always working a second job. Um, I was always trying to push myself to work. And also, I didn't get to go to school. So when I tried to go to school, I didn't have the right help at school, in college. So now I'm facing the consequences, which I shouldn't be facing the consequences um, because I didn't have the right resources back in the day that I wish I did have. Um, and so that really frustrated me a lot that I really didn't get the resources because I just went straight out of high school, went straight to working, and I really didn't have a stable environment um, to really know. I went to school, but also I didn't have a stable environment where I could stay, um, where mentally, where I could stay that I could focus on school, but also go to work. So it was like a scramble, I think, to really not even think about your mental health at all in my those 8 years. And so I think now that I've taken a step back and really looked at these things, um, you know, it's okay to tell your counselors what you are going through. If you feel like you want to end your life, please tell the counselor or tell somebody. Um, there's there's lines, phone lines. You can search them up on suicide lines. But I believe everybody has problems, and some people don't want to admit that they have those problems, maybe because they're scared to talk about them, or anything just in general that you hid for a long time in your life. Um, and yeah, so I've had those mental health issues for a long time, um, and so now I'm really figuring out um, what I can really do with my counselors that I can support my mental health. Um, if it's medicine, and I know people are anti-medicine people that help um, your depression or anxiety, and there's so many kind of what's it called? Like there's so many kinds of um, mm, what is it called? Mental health problems nowadays and different genres of it now. So it's been a journey going through it through these past few months. And it's been tough. Also, not working, that's a big thing that's really affected is that I'm not working at all. And so that's been tough because I don't really have money and I'm struggling with money financially. Um, and I've asked places like I've asked um, there's a community action place and where I live at, and you could ask for rent to help you with the emergency rent. But I hadn't heard from them back in like 10 to 12 weeks. And so they told me they were going to call me back in 10 to 12 weeks or email me in 10 to 12 weeks, but nothing has happened. And so that's really frustrating. And um, that was set back your mental health. And um, then your counselor is telling you, oh, well, maybe you should work. And it's like, but did you just not hear me, counselor? And so I have to tell the counselor sometimes, a lot of times, can you hear what I'm saying? Like, are you actually listening to me, counselor? And I hope this is for some people too, that thing tattoo, like counselor, are you listening? you know? Um, but yeah, so it's just, I'm just happy I could be vulnerable and open on this podcast because I think it's important to talk about these things, mental health. But yeah, so it's a struggle because now I don't have money. I've been trying to ask the church, but now I don't know if they're going to give me money yet. Um, and then you have other people in your house that we talked about. The last episode we talked about some gambling issues and whatever sin issues you have. Sometimes it's hard to not break that curse, um, and so that's been hard to break the cycle myself because I'm trying to focus on my life and focus on what is good for my life to keep me with the positivity, but also not try to go to the negative side all the time. And um, also, I've been talking to my counselors, like, because the counselors go like, well, we need you to figure out a way how to. We need to figure out how to way to express yourself when you're frustrated or whatever's going on in your life. So I'm like, first of all, when I get frustrated, I'm gonna tell you right now, with autistic spectrum, when I'm done and depressed and irritated, whatever it is, I'm not gonna be trying to journal. And I don't know if you guys agree with, but I ain't gonna journal. And they're like, maybe you should write down your thoughts, and maybe you should do this. And I'm like, first of all, I keep on telling you, I ain't gonna journal because I'm already done. I'm already done. I'm livid. I'm done. I cannot write. I'm frustrated. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. And then my counselor goes, oh, maybe you're not anxious. Maybe you're more overwhelmed. And I don't know. I'm like, well, how do you know if I'm anxious or more anxiety of it? I don't know how you keep on going back to anxious. I meant to back to maybe I'm struggling with you know I'm not anxious. I don't understand that. And I'm telling you I'm anxious and depressed, and you're telling me something else. So it's just frustrating sometimes with counselors, um, and I also don't like when counselors switch on you. That's a really step back to me too, because I'm one that likes a routine with counselors. I don't like to switch counselors like out of the nowhere. Um, and I think jobs like to do that, just switch people out of nowhere, because there's no money and they're making too much money. So, that's another day to talk about that. But, so like, and so I really do believe in um, trying to take care of your mental health. I don't believe in that you should go and try to work and then try to take care of your mental health and try to make money. And so I think that's a big struggle right now. Is we don't have a lot of money in the house, and we might be getting evicted soon. So that's really sucks for me, and I don't even know where I'm gonna go. Um, I could be going to a homeless shelter. So you might see this in the car next time, or homeless shelter next time you see me at the next episode. Um, so don't be surprised. And there's a reason why I chose that to do that. And that's because I needed to look. I've always separated myself from my family as I tried to break the curse away. Um, and I love my parents very much. And it's hard. It's such a hard thing like you love your parents a lot. And I honor my parents a lot. And there's things that I'm going to disagree with their parents. And they have struggles, their own stuff, and there's things that they don't want to talk about to me, or they get mad that they don't want to talk about them. But yeah, so I can't put myself back because I've seen situations when I've been with my parents, and that's really been hard. And so I just can't live with them and just go back into that negativity. I'm trying to better myself in ways I need to do. And then also, with my sister, she's like, you're always welcome. But like I said, when I'm here in this, where I live with my sister right now, my dad and a roommate, um, because I can tell that it's hard because my sister's kind of has that trait where she can lie sometimes. So, and I think a lot of people have those traits too. But when you're used to your siblings, you know who they are, um, and so I think they kind of look at you, kind of like, oh, whoa, Noah's kind of different, Noah's outgoing, and then sometimes he's quiet, and then you just don't know what you're gonna get from Noah. I said, of course you're not gonna get from Noah because Noah has an autistic spectrum, and people are like, oh, don't make that excuse, but it's kind of a trait of the autistic spectrum. You don't know what you're gonna get. I mean, I might be depressed, I might be happy, um, but I'm a happy depressed. Because sometimes I just don't know how to feel. About the depression. So I like to laugh a lot because it's like I love it. It's like a laugh. And so yeah, so that's been my journey this week and the past few months. But I'm so excited that I get to start doing this on my podcast too, so you can keep updated on me each week. Um, it might be a short podcast during the weekly podcast, but yeah, so that's been my daily update. I was supposed to go to Florida, but like I said, I don't have no money to go to Florida. Because also I've been trying to get into school too, with vocational rehabilitation. They're a program. They say they're more of like they're trying to get you back into work for people with disabilities. And so they want you to get into work. So they want you to get into work, but they also want you to go to school. And so they're pushing me to go to school. I meant work. And I said, I'm not doing that right now. I told you I need to work on my mental health. And also what frustrated me about vocational rehabilitation is they had an assessment with me. And so it really frustrated me because usually this is how my assessments go. Because I'm used to the results of assessments with me. Usually the same result. It's like, okay, well, you not very good at communicating. And do you think I'm not good at communicating? Then why the heck am I talking like this? Can you understand? Can you guys understand? Or am I not communicating? Because apparently people that in this position with vocational rehabilitation, they don't think I can communicate enough. But the test, because of the test. And so that really frustrates me that you can tell me about a test. That's not accurate. Um, and especially for school, you can't just think just because they can't do that test doesn't mean they can succeed in school that way. Um, and so, and then they were talking about my math. And of course, my math has always been low. And in the sixth grade math, and um, I've had low reading. But I don't put those standards to I don't look at those standards because they've been with me for my whole life. And nowadays, I don't really think the math always requires for school. So I think that's why a lot of people drop out of school too, is the requirements are just not what the requirements should be. And so, I've just been trying to, and so vocational rehabilitation is more, they wanted me to work, but also they wanted to go their way. Um, with the assessment, and it says, oh well, you can't do the schooling that you wanted to do, you're going to have to do this other schooling instead. And I was like, I disagree 100% on that. And so I think, vocational rehabilitation, I said, I disagree on that, can I still do that? They're like, no, because you don't want to work, but also you don't want to do what we told you to do, with which is the assessment that tells us that you can do these jobs and this with school. And so that was frustrating. So now I have to go a different route with school. Um, but that's frustrating too because, like I said, I can't really do anything with school because of the history of my um, the fast that I had. But history I failed in 2 years or something, but I could be 100% wrong on that. I'll have to look at that. So yeah, I am looking into school still, and I would love to go to school. But like I said, and school is another big block to my mental health. I wish I could just really look through it for a year because like my mind is really slow, and sometimes when everything goes so fast, it's hard for me to keep up with everything. So yeah, so that's my update with school, trying to find somewhere to go because I don't want to be homeless, but I feel like it's gonna happen soon. And my dad and mom are like, you should have the rent, and then no, we're gonna be evicted. And then my sister's like, we're gonna be evicted, and then they all have jobs, and then my other sister's working another job, and so it's just frustrating. Um, and then people are gambling, um, and then somebody wants to take my car, and I'm like, no, you can't do that. So, it's just a lot of frustrating things. And but yeah, so that is my weekly, or you can say monthly, weekly, whatever. But yeah, and also I've been looking into, disability stuff, and that's what I really look into, disability law, and also into what is it called? Applying for disability is a long wait. You have to wait a long time, and there's a lot process you have to go through with that. And so that's really hurt my mental health too, because I don't know why the disability law or the disability office makes you wait long like that with disabilities, especially when you're going through some mental health issues. That can really affect you a lot. And I think that's a lack of education in the state system, into around the world, and into the White House. So I think that's a big thing. But also, um, I was looking in. Another thing I'm looking at is the presidential election. That's a big thing I've been looking at, and I don't know what you guys are thinking, but this election has been one of the craziest ones out of all the years. I think this has been the craziest one. Okay, so I don't know what to think. Um, but I do have an eye on one candidate um, that I'm going to vote for. But then, I think there's another candidate that might win. So it's just frustrating. And I'm just happy one of the candidates that I was rooting for in where I live in Arizona won her primary. So I'm very excited for her that she won her primary because I've been talking to her and talking to her about certain things that needs to be done, but also to really let her know that where I grew up in Hawaii, there's a lot of things that are more normalized or more. different than here in Arizona. So I had to really aware to that scenario. But also, I think everybody should be aware that we're very divided in America. The Democrats on the Democratic side, the Republicans on the Republican side, but some of them disagree on policy, and I know the MAGA extremists more disagreeing, but I also think we need to find ways to come together. Even though we disagree on policy, whatever it is, we disagree on things, right? We need to come together and get things done because that's not going to look good for other people in the world. Yeah, that is, and I need to look at that. Who's going to be in the White House? Who's getting elected in my state? And I always look at those things to make sure that disability community is getting lifted up more. So that's why I look at it more in the politics and how my life will grow. Because right now, being homeless and trying to find a place right now, and it's going the wrong way. So, you guys, I know there's not a lot of people watching this, but here we are in this episode. So, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the subscribers on my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching the podcast, the Real Trash Podcast. And as I always say on my YouTube, my podcast or my YouTube videos, or wherever am I in videos, to Ahuyo is bye in Hawaiian, and always be yourself, you guys. Okay, love you guys, and I will see you on the next episode, and we shall see next week what goes on. Love y'all. Bye. See you later. Bye.